Dames and heren, meisters and jungen, and welcome back to the F1 2022 podcast. I am joined by David.
Hey everyone.
So apologies again for Alan. He has had to obviously not join us this week due to family emergency. So it's just
Yeah,
me
he's
and
got
David.
plenty to do. We wish him all the best in his family, all the best, but unfortunately he can't make this one. We've got a note from his parents, so everything's okay.
Yeah. So Jeddah.
So, yeah, feeling like only 5 minutes since we were last there, thanks to the way these two seasons have.
Well, yeah.
Because it was the second to last race of 2021 and then the second race of 2022?
Yeah. It was, yeah, one before Abu Dhabi last year. And it was eventful, don't get me wrong.
Oh, this whole season, this is going to be one of the. I know we're on 2 races in, it's a bit early to call it, but it's looking like one of the best seasons we've had.
Well, that's what you said about last year's season.
Yeah, this was getting even better.
Yeah, I mean, I watched practice. Practice was just, just standard practice.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't catch any with work and other commitments. I didn't really see any results.
Qualifying was qualifying up until a red flag. Well, sorry, up until the first red flag and then the second red flag.
Yeah, I've seen videos of. I didn't catch them live. I've seen.
Well, did you
Obviously.
catch? Did you see the video of Latifi's?
Yeah, the TV got lucky in a way because the car sort of ricocheted round one of the barriers. It hit one of the barriers with the back end and sort of spun the car and took a lot of pace off it.
Mm.
So I think his was actually quite a lucky escape that could have been far, far worse.
He's just not having a good time with that car. Because obviously we'll get onto the race in pretty soon, but yeah, he's not having luck. Now that obviously caused a red flag. That was quite a quick clean-up for the marshals. The second crash, however, ended up being nearly an hour's delay.
Yeah.
And that was Mick in the Haas. It looked fucking nasty.
Oh, for the second year in a run that Mick had a big accident at Jeddah and another big accident for a Haas, which seems to be a running.
Yeah, but it looked awful.
Yeah, so it was a heavy impact. Luckily, in a lot of ways, it did what it was supposed to do because it sort of bounced off the barrier and slid down, which sort of helped it, and also the various parts that were meant to fall off fell off.
The two wheels.
2 wheels, and actually the engine actually split away.
It split away once they picked it up, yeah. But like I say, I get like the decision why they decided not to start him.
Yeah, obviously for his own health, and also for their sake, for parts, etc.
Yeah.
It gives them more time to rebuild things before the car's next season out in Australia.
Which is going to be an interesting one. Like I said, I might not. The only things I'll probably catch for Australia when we do talk about Australia will be qualifying and the race itself because of the time that they're going to get shown.
Yeah, likewise.
But qualifying, fuck me. I mean,
yeah,
the Ferraris were on point, but
and then they got Mexicaned.
Yeah. But it was just like, I'm thinking, oh, I was just sat there watching. I'm thinking, oh, here we go. It's going to be bloody double Ferrari on pole, Ferrari on
Yeah.
pole, Ferrari second. Sainz managed to get some pace. Jesus. He found some pace.
Sainz is forever settling into that car and getting better and better. He's not quite at Leclerc's level, but Leclerc's had more time. Leclerc is very on the verge of doing what Schumacher did and really moulding that Ferrari team.
Yeah, I mean, in qualifying, obviously, we had the usual. The Alphas done well. The Ferrari powered cars seem to be up there. Mercedes powered cars, not so much. But
Well, Q1 there was 6 cars disqualified. 5 of them had Mercedes engines in them, and the one that didn't take part in qualifying because it was having hydraulic issues.
which one was that one?
To Sonda.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he?
He never said a time in Q1 because the car. It said cooling in the end. They reckoned
They said it was a cooling issue.
That was the only non-Mercedes that got knocked out in Q1. All the rest were Mercedes, including, of course, the man himself.
I was pretty shocked at that, to be honest. I was a little shocked.
Oh, I wasn't half cheering Stroll around that qualifying lap. Trust me. Yeah, I wasn't half.
He just, to be honest, as much as we give him shit, he just seemed like he'd given up.
I don't think giving up. I think he's just. From what I can gather, reading between the lines a little bit, it's this move to E10 fuel that seems to have really hurt the Mercedes engines. That seems to be what's losing them a lot of their pace. More because, the Mercedes engine is basically the same engine as last year.
Mm.
It haven't changed. But I think this move to the more biofuel, the Merc engine is finding harder to adapt to than obviously the Ferrari or the Renault power plants.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly how it looks.
That's is it Red Bull? It's Honda, isn't it? It's Red Bull powertrain, but it's actually...
Red Bull powertrain, it is basically the Honda
It's still
engine.
the
Red
Honda.
Bull are building it themselves this year.
But, yeah, no... Yeah, because... I wonder why... I get Formula 1 want to go carbon neutral, but... I guess the messing with the fuel is just...
It's probably one of the similar reasons why they did the change to the tyres. Make the fuel they're using more relevant to the road fuels, and then at least the fuel manufacturers get something useful out of it.
Yeah, it's looking like the Mercedes engines are just struggling with it.
I reckon that'll be a lot of it. So the big move to these 18-inch wheels was a lot to do with making it so that the wheels and tyres are developing. Because the old 13-inch, there aren't many things on the road these days that run 13-inch wheels.
No.
So at least the 18s are sort of more useful information.
Well, yeah, but...
So I'm guessing the fuel's the same. Just let them run in basic... Obviously, it's high octane, but it's basically the same fuel as you can buy for your road car.
Yeah.
In fact, there's some filling stations I know of, some near Silverstone. I used to be able to buy about 105 RON and stuff like that. It was bloody expensive, and a lot of road cars would not run it, but it was there because they were close to the racetrack.
Yeah.
Obviously, your standard, for those that don't know, is 95, and you can get 99 as like premium 99 when it's a certain additive of chemical. 99 is usually what they consider like premium, and most road cars, unless you're running something particularly sporty, is not really designed to run on more than 99.
No.
It allows them to run too hot, which can lead to issues of melting pistons.
Well, what is it they offer now? Is it 90?
It's usually 95 and 99. As far as it 95 and there's 97 and 99.
I think it's 90. Isn't it 95 and 97?
I know Tesco certainly used to offer, all the field vans are available, used to offer 99, so it was literally called Tesco 99.
Well, what's the V power then at Shell? He's just checking this. He's gonna have to check it.
Yeah, I'm Googling, yes.
I'm sure that I thought that was 97. I'll give him a minute while he checks that one out.
I'm just reading. In United Kingdom and Denmark, V Power has a rating of 99 RON.
Alright, so it is 99.
Yeah, but apparently to be classed as a premium fuel, it has to be minimum 97.
So it could be 90.
So obviously we have like the standard and premium.
Yeah.
It has to be, theirs is 99. Apparently we replaced the old Optimax, which was 98.
Oh,
There are two other 99 available in the UK, Tesco Momentum and Shell Supreme.
Which one I kind of, in towns like where we are, I don't get why they offer the higher fuel, because
Now, I used to run one of my old ones exclusively on the higher diesel, and I found it ran a lot better. It does generally run. If you've got something that's a little bit performance-based, it will take it better. I know lads with stuff like Evos and Subarus, they need minimum 97, 99. They will not run on 95. Or they'll run, but they'll run like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
Because performance engines are sort of set up
For higher stuff.
It's like I said before about, say, you used to be able to buy certain, I remember 105. So it was a garage just has literally just done the entrance of Silverstone.
Yeah.
But like I say, it was mainly for people who were taking stuff onto the track. And this is back before the year 2000, it was like £2 odd a litre. Which sounded a lot back then, but looking at it these days, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It seems a lot of money, but like these
Yeah, but
days,
that's probably about a fiver.
yeah.
A litre, you know. But anyway, we've once again rambled lovely off the topic we were supposed to be.
Just a bit. No, but we're not off topic, but we're sort of on topic because we're still on the F1 because you're on about the fuel loads of the cars. So we're not exactly off topic, and you're on about Silverstone, which is an F1 circuit, which is really confusing about the way they've done the schedule like this year with Silverstone and Austria. They switched them around.
Yeah, it bounces about because do we not fly out to Canada to then come back or something stupid like that?
I think so. But yeah, getting onto the incident.
Yeah, we do. We're we got Monaco, Azerbaijan, Canada, Great Britain.
Oh.
It's like the Canadians snuck in while we weren't looking.
Talk about jet lag.
And then apologised for it.
Yeah. But yeah, Mick's crash was just oof.
Obviously, he's since known to be fine.
He
was actually said he probably could have raced, but it was their decision not to, and probably the right one, just to give him and the team a chance to process and sort out
and rebuild the car. It would have been. I think it would have been quite a rush to build that car, and they may have actually had to do the curfew.
And the trouble is, though, as I was saying to you, because that engine gearbox is toast. That engine gearbox is done. After that,
oh yeah, it's fucked.
But we're 2 races into the season. It's still 3 limit on engines, isn't it?
Yep. He's gonna have
so there's 21 races on 2 engines they're potentially gonna have to try and do.
They won't do it.
Oh no. I wonder if you can borrow some of Bottas' spares. He's got any left?
Yeah.
Them old Merc ones he took with him.
But yeah, rest of qualifying was just like, yeah, okay, let's see where Max gets.
It looked like the Ferraris had it in the bag, and then along came Perez.
And then along came Mr. Dependable.
With the absolute qualifying, his first pole in 215 attempts.
Yeah.
as we've said before, you forget how long he's been in this sport.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, his first ever pole position, which I thought was fantastic. It was a great drive. Obviously, 2 Ferraris behind him, then Max. Then Russell, just to prove that Hamilton's Q1 rows weren't just down to the car,
Oh, yeah.
when Russell did manage to hustle it round.
Russell was driving the nuts off that car.
The thing is, as somebody said to me, actually, somebody put it really well, and I realise I risk triggering any Hamilton fans at this point. But Hamilton's never driven a shit car.
No.
He hasn't.
No.
George has. I wonder if that's why he's maybe doing slightly better, because he's used to having to hustle a subpar car.
Oh, yeah.
Well, whereas Lewis has spent most of his time in something which has been a level ahead of everything else.
Well, yeah. If you think, well, the
It's,
McLaren.
it's probably easier to drive that slow car hard when you're used to it,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is what they're having to do right now.
yeah, because if you think about, like, when Russell was at Williams, look at what he could do sometimes without Williams.
Yeah.
Spa was the perfect example.
Oh yeah. Well, there was a good. Yeah. Well, I was scrolling Twitter before we come on, and there's a quote from Hamilton during the race where he says he can't keep up with the pace on a Haas.
Yeah.
Imagine that 12 months ago.
Yeah.
And Merck saying he can't keep up with a Haas.
Mm. But it's like Russell. It was just.
Russell right now is doing himself a lot of favours. He's just keeping his head down, keeping results. He's actually ahead of Hamilton in the championship standings right now
Yeah.
because of his better plays, even though because he finished nose to tail at Bahrain and then he got the better position here at Jeddah.
Yeah.
So he's currently ahead of Lewis in the Drivers' Championship, which I don't think anybody would have predicted coming.
No. I mean, so yeah, moving on to like the race and everything, it's just like poor fucking Yuki. Poor Yuki. Didn't even get to the grid.
In vibes of McLaren a few years ago and Alonso. Didn't even make it round to the grid before the car died.
Yeah.
Saying that, we'll talk about that. Sainz got lucky, didn't he?
Yeah.
Obviously, whatever went wrong on that, they were able to fix without triggering him to have to pit lane start. And they say it was a wiring loom issue, but
Yeah. But it was because they still had over an hour.
and also they're allowed to change. Is it on the grounds of safety or
Reliability?
Yeah, there's a couple of conditions where they are still allowed to change, which they obviously.
It was still it was still a like for like. Well, it can't be a like for like part, but
Yeah, you don't have another broken one.
no, but it was the same.
Same spec.
Because
It's not like it's an upgrade part or anything like that.
Yeah, but they did use the term like for like, but it's the fact. Well, it's like, well, if you're going like for like, it's like, well,
Fit another broken one.
yeah, that term doesn't really apply there. But yeah, they are allowed to change for safety and stuff, and I think that wiring loom could have been could have been a bit nasty if, by the sounds of it. I mean, it was a good race. I mean,
It was a very good race.
Early on, I mean, like, if Alan had been here, Alan only sort of caught it from like 20 onwards because he had sleep issues, whatever. The fucking Alpines were just going at each other. That was brilliant.
That was brilliant on one hand, but I can imagine if you were an Alpine person at that point, it maybe wasn't that great.
Even the team manager said, we're going to let them race, and then they were given the order to reel in.
But I think they actually hurt themselves quite a lot because you saw the way Bottas caught up to them.
Oh, they were slowing themselves down. They weren't working together. They were just racing. Which is the way it kind of should be. Just let them race. No team orders. But then, I think they realised it was a case of, well,
You
where...
hit a point where you have to kind of put the team orders in, though, or else...
It did hit a point. It was getting a bit too dicey between them two.
Yeah.
Because at some point you were thinking, "This good, they're gonna fuck it. They're gonna hit each other."
I think they got very close into turn one a couple of times, didn't they?
They did. I mean, 6. So you had at the end of the race there was 7 cars out.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mick didn't start. Yuki didn't start. Obviously, because he didn't make it to the grid. But it's...
That's it. I mean, we're jumping ahead a bit. We had a glut of unreliability right towards the end, didn't we? A real sort of...
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, we'll get to that, but that was... Yeah, to be honest, Hulkenberg didn't do too bad, but obviously, super sub, but the car's not built for him, really.
Oh, yeah.
It's built for Vettel, which, unfortunately, he couldn't race again due to his COVID. Which
Yeah, hopefully see him back in Australia.
Hoping that he's going to come back in Australia.
I'm sure he's hoping he comes back in Australia as well.
Yeah. And to be fair, I know I said it last year, and I'm going to say it again. I don't rate Albon. He should have stayed at DTM. He should have stayed at the DTM.
What's that? You're starting to sound like me. I'm sure, because I know you were more of a fan of Albon when he was at Red Bull, whereas I never really rated his attempts at Red Bull, never seemed to come to anything.
But then when he went to DTM, obviously you used to catch some of the DTM stuff. He was a lot better at DTM. He was doing better at DTM. And yeah, I just don't rate him at the minute.
I think in a lot of ways, if you judge him by that, he's the same as with Russell last year. You kind of got to judge the fighting a losing battle with that car. I don't think the Williams is still a very good car. Do you think it's better than last year's? But I still don't think it's very good, and I think the fact that the Merc engine's so far off this year really isn't doing them any favours.
Well, both the Williams didn't finish.
Yeah. Which brings me on to one quite interesting, funny note I thought of Andy had to make, is the fact that Latifi crashed this time and actually hurt Red Bull.
What? Latifi crashing hurt Red Bull?
For once.
Yeah.
But if you think back to Abu Dhabi, it was Latifi's crash that...
Yeah.
This time Latifi crashed and poor Perez. I really feel bad for Perez.
That was bad because obviously
It wasn't. You can't blame the team. You can't blame him. It's the way it happened. But the timings were so unfortunate. You just couldn't.
Yeah, because he got a brilliant start. He was getting a gap.
He was doing what he had to do. He was managing, and there's one thing. It looked very much like being a race that was going to be heavy on tyre wear. And if there's one person we know is damn good with tyre wear,
Perez.
It's good old Sergio. As I've said before, he drives like he pays for the tyres half the time.
Yeah. I mean, be fair to him, he brought it home in 4th, but
he very much seemed to have a win on the cards until, and then the pit lane incident, which I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I would imagine it would not be easy to see that there was a car leaving the pit lane when you're coming down the track, even at reduced speeds of safety car.
Oh, when him and Sainz had to do...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried to do a little bit of research I couldn't find. I know for a fact that when cars are leaving the pit lane, there's a light to warn them that there's a car coming down the track. I don't think there's a light the other way.
No,
So there isn't a light on the track to warn you that there's a car coming out of the pit lane. So
no.
Perez arrived in that corner, probably not realising there was going to be a car coming out of the pit lane right alongside him.
Yeah.
And I think giving the place back was the right decision.
This whole let the team manage like the decision to give the places back. I'm not really keen on that rule.
Well, it's the old joke of give them enough rope to hang themselves.
The stewards,
You know, they're hoping the teams will sort it out and the stewards don't have to intervene. Because if stewards have to intervene, they'll just penalise.
Yeah.
The thing is, in the past, the stewards would have turned around and said, just swap the places over.
Yeah.
What's going to happen now is if the teams don't do that, they're going to stick a 5-second penalty on them.
Yeah. I mean, it's... The stewards are very... I don't know what this is.
We haven't overly seen a lot of the stewards so far this year.
A few of them
Considering what we got
stewards.
told... I mean, we got told that apparently the white lines are going to be the track limits, which I personally think is a brilliant idea. Why not? But we don't seem to have seen it overly enforced. We certainly didn't seem to in Bahrain. I mean, okay, in Jeddah it's a slight moot point because there's very few places where you could go much over the white line before you met a tyre wall and a date with a JCB.
Yeah, that's very true. It was a case of, But
we don't seem to have seen a huge amount from them, which is possibly a good sign that there's not been a huge amount going on. They've had to...
They have been quite heavy-handed with a few people, though. I did notice.
Well, there was the penalty for... I forget who it was now, where the accident reckoned he never served enough time, didn't they?
Zhao,
that's it.
Guan Yu Zhou. Sorry. Guan Yu
Because they had fun with the front jack, didn't the front jack collapsed?
Yeah. Guan Yu Zhou, he didn't serve his 5-second time penalty. So that's why he got a drive-through. I mean, like going back to Albon. Albon has a free place grid penalty in Australia upcoming.
Oh, does he? Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's been handed. That's what was the point I was going to make when it came to obviously Albon. It was he's been given off the stewards because of his incidents on track. He's been given a free place grid penalty in Australia.
What incidents did he have? I can't recall.
Yeah, there was a couple of...
I know Danny Rick got a 3 place at the start of Jeddah, didn't he, for impeding in being qualified?
Yeah, this is what I mean about they've been quite heavy.
Yeah, well, I guess they've kind of got to be a little bit heavy-handed.
It's not that. They're just
one of the reasons it's happened.
They're trying to make up a fucking...
Well, they're trying to set a precedent and set a mark down because one of the complaints from Abu Dhabi was that stewards didn't make decisions. So they're now trying to...
Yeah, they're trying to just enforce it, but there's a point of enforcing it on... And...
Oh, it's...
Yeah, there you go. Alex Albon has received a free place grid penalty for the Australian Grand Prix as a result of his late race move on Lance Stroll.
Right, okay, I honestly can't recall.
Despite the incident putting him out of the race. They had a do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they had that collision. He popped a tyre, didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember that, actually, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's when he had the thing, and he's been given.
Ah, right.
But
well, if it happened too late in the race and he ended up out, so he couldn't serve penalty, actually, I don't overly disagree with it.
Yeah, he's been given that because of that, and I think Albon's come out and said the wrong thing and basically turned around and said he wasn't regretful.
So they're probably going to slap him again to try and... They're going to go all Will Smith on his ass.
Will Smith? Oh, is that the Will Smith Chris Rock thing at the Oscars?
Yeah. I was making a topical joke.
Yeah. But,
yeah, you know, Chris Rock was left with some fresh prints on his face.
I believe so.
Shh.
I believe so.
Thank you, Hero Week. We should piss off.
But the race was just the race. I mean...
Yeah, great little scrap for Verstappen and Leclerc. Great little scrap. More of that this season, please.
It's gonna be, I think. That Ferrari's just...
Say, Hamilton actually didn't do too bad, but still that Merc needs some work. Haas, once again, reasonable finish, obviously, for the one that finished.
Well, yeah, because you've got Russell, who finished... Obviously, if you didn't see the race, it was Max first, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Russell, Ocon, Norris, Gasly, K-Mag, Hamilton.
Let's have a second just to appreciate that Norris there after their Bahrain performance.
And then
Norris to be back up.
And then obviously Guan Yu Zhou and Hulkenberg and Stroll.
And then the rest were DNFs.
And then
I say we had a glut. The cracking. You had to laugh at one point when we just about had a push race down the pit lane between Alonso's car and Ricciardo's.
Yeah.
They were trying to push them both down the pit lane at the same time.
Jesus.
Which that once again further screwed Lewis over because, of course,
he
had to shut the pit lane.
Yeah, he couldn't pit, and he needed to pit because he was the only one at that point
that
hadn't pitted.
You know, memories of Monza where he pitted under a closed
pit lane.
Yeah.
So the DNFs, Albon because he had a ding with Stroll. Bottas, not sure why he DNF'd.
Overheat. It was another unreliability. It was another overheat.
Oh right. Because I know we'd come in for a pit stop, but then...
Yeah. Bottas, Alonso, Ricciardo were all the car overheated.
Latifi was a crash and Yuki didn't make it to the grid.
Latifi had that. It was weird, wasn't it? Because the car kind of snap oversteered on him.
Mm.
And then as he went to try and control the oversteer, he basically didn't have enough track to do it.
Yeah.
So he corrected the oversteer and smacked the wall. I was amazed they tried to do that on the VSC first and didn't go full safety car or red flag.
What?
Latifi's crash. I'd said before there was a few people there's going to be a red flag. Because if anything happens on that track, clearing it up is not easy. And it actually amazed me they cleared that the way they did.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a...
Well, most of the marshals anyways were people from Bahrain. They were the Bahraini lot. I mean, Bahrain, they happen to have some of the best marshals.
Yeah, but it's not the case. I mean, don't get me wrong, marshals in general are amazing people. Marshals are bloody brilliant and deserve all the praise they can get and a lot more.
I mean, it was
the layout of the track does not lend itself to ease of clearing stranded cars.
Well, no, as you saw with Mick when he had his crash, and the way that, I mean, I don't know what it was, but they had there was fucking quad bikes with like a broom, a big industrial sized brush thing on the back that it was towing, clearing the track.
Yeah, well, that's just trying, clear like the oil and that off.
Well, that was for the debris more than that. Then they brought the big.
Have you never seen NASCAR when they bring out the jet engine on the back of a pickup?
No.
Sometimes to try and dry the track, they have this basically it's a jet engine mounted to the back of a pickup.
Right.
There's a cracking clip from a good few years ago. I think it was Juan Pablo Montoya managed to run into it.
Whoops.
And it ended up with a trail of flames across the track as all the jet fuel burned.
Jesus. I'll have to have a look. I'll YouTube that later on. But Yeah, it was. What do you think's causing? Do you think it is down to the fuel then that is actually causing these overheats?
I don't think the fuel's got the overage. I think we're seeing a season of a lot more unreliability than the past, which I'm not actually entirely against because it's at least giving a bit more unpredictability. I think it's just the fuel's probably playing a part, but I think it was just the heat of Jeddah, and we're still very early on in the season. You know, the
Well,
teams probably haven't 100% go. We've got these new designs, these new side pods. I mean, Mercedes, of course, went the boldest on that one.
yeah. Well, weren't this? Didn't they say though that because of the heat as well, for the fact that the heat they've had two places that are extremely hot.
Yeah.
You've had Bahrain, you've had there.
Yeah, but you kind of have to race there this time of year because you couldn't race here
Oh no.
because you would never get the cars to work in the temperatures we have here right now. So they have to race out in the hot.
Yeah, but we haven't had too bad weather at the minute.
Yeah, but it's still not.
Yeah, yeah.
Could you imagine trying to make? God, they're having enough trouble getting the tyres heated up out there. What would it be like here when it's 5 degrees?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Still you saw what Hamilton was like at Bahrain, and still here to get the tyres because they've actually lowered the temperatures of the tyre blankets this year. Apparently, the end goal is to actually go tyre blankets, get rid of them.
Yeah, non-tyre blankets. But if you keep having this issue, because look at how many laps it's been taking them even in qualifying. It's not just been one walk.
Is that a bad thing?
No,
I think that's great.
Like I'm saying, it's not just been one warm-up lap. Oh, your tire, the tires are ready. Push. Well, some drivers have. Leclerc. He did one warm-up lap and pushed it.
Yeah.
But like the likes of Max and stuff, he's been taking a couple of laps.
Yeah.
Even like Alonso as well did as well. Alonso backed out. Even though obviously I'm going back to the race as well. Ocon and Norris. Right at the end.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. That was just, yeah.
Well, say you got Leclerc and Verstappen right at the end, and they played that one to Leclerc once again showing that same intelligent driving he was using at Bahrain. Actually let Max past him into the last corner.
I think
because he knew
But I think Leclerc his tyres were. I think Leclerc.
I also think Max was just that determined after what happened at Bahrain.
Yeah.
Max was not going to let that one die an easy death.
As much as I like Max, this is going to piss a lot of Red Bull fans off. Because
I've already got the Hamilton fans pitchforking for me, so you might as well get the Red Bull fans.
Obviously, I'm a Red Bull supporter. I don't like how much of a fucking whiny little bitch he's being. That annoyed me.
I honestly think a lot of that. I think a lot of that, and we're hearing more team radio at the moment from him probably than any other driver because of who he is and his temperature position. Yeah. I reckon probably all the drivers do it to a certain extent. It's just we're just hearing his.
Well,
I mean, Hamilton can be as bad for it.
Yeah, I know Hamilton can be as bad for it, but it was mainly him we were hearing.
Let's say he's currently driver number 1 though, so it makes sense that we hear more.
I know, but I don't want to hear.
He's only in the thick of the action.
Don't want to hear him bitching. But even his race engineer turned around and said to him, "Look, just calm down, get focused," or whatever it was. And Gasly apparently, from lap 15, onwards, like not lap 15, but 15, was it 15, 10 laps to go? Apparently Gasly was in a lot of pain.
Yeah, I heard that. Something to do with his ribs, wasn't it? I was going to go myself because there was an interview post race of him with Natalie.
Mm.
Where he was talking about it, and yeah, it didn't sound good, like.
No. Because he did have to go for medical centre to get checked. But apparently he was in a lot of pain. He was just surviving, trying to finish that race.
To be fair, as an F1 fan, I've had races I've just survived to finish.
Mm. But no, he, like I say, he said it was more like intestinal, sort of.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, of course, I haven't heard anything since, but you hope
No.
for the best.
Yeah.
Hulkenberg could be driving that car in a couple of weeks.
Who else have they got?
Look, has anybody else got, or do they just... I don't think anybody else has another reserve. I think it's just Hulkenberg is just F1's reserve driver.
Well, I think Van Dorn's... I don't know if Van Dorn's Mercs anymore.
Doesn't matter what car it is that's having trouble. No, we just call the Hulk's phone rings.
Yeah.
Or as I put to somebody, they don't even ring it, they just shine a giant H onto a cloud. Like the bat symbol.
Yeah. Have you got any remarks you want to make?
No, I'm just going to try and goad you into what I goad you into every time with any thoughts for Australia. Obviously, the revamped Australia layout.
I'm going to just say Ferraris and Max and possibly Perez up there as well, maybe Russell. Just
Come on, I want to see K-Mag first, Schumacher second,
yeah.
and Leclerc third.
That would be an interesting one, wouldn't it?
And then we'd sit back and watch F1 Twitter explode.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's just fine. No, another good race, as I say. What a season we've got on our hands right now.
Yep. Yeah.
This makes up for all them years where it's been a bit...
So obviously the next podcast will be 2 weeks.
Yeah, probably looking at the 11th it will be, won't it? Or somewhere around there. We'll figure out exactly.
Yeah, it'll be after Australia. So,
yeah, it'll be difficult to do it beforehand.
Yeah. So we're going to end this one here. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget you follow us on Twitch. All links are in the description. And yeah, so until next time.
So long, and thanks for the fish.
Goodbye for now.